Hi, guys. Welcome to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. This podcast is all about life and all things that comes with it. This is a safe space to be vulnerable, to talk about love, inspire growth, and encourage freedom. Join me and rediscover life's complexities that make things worthwhile. Hey guys, welcome to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. So, this podcast will be all about all kinds of love. The love we have for ourselves, hashtag self love, and the love we have for our friends, and the love we have for a significant other, and all the things that could mean love for anyone. So, let's not forget anything from dogs, parents, families, friends, whatever we want love to be. And we would also be talking about any kind of growth from your career to your physical state to your mental and emotional state. Because we all know that life can throw us things that we're not ready for, we're not prepared for, and we overlook how much or how far we've come from the way we started it, the way we started the year. We always look back into things and be like, wow, I made it to this. I was able to get through this. So growth is something we value and acknowledge in this podcast because, growth is something that we need no matter how hard, no matter how good it is. Growth is something that we experience in an everyday situation. And lastly, we'll talk about freedom. Freedom is something that we often take for granted, not because it's bad, but something that is always available for us. And sometimes we see this as it's just there. We see this as something that's already given to us. But not all people, especially the LGBTQIA community, get to live their freedom or their freest life and freest self. Because being free means you get to be yourself. And a lot of people like me who had trouble growing up, coming out of the closet, and was experiencing such a heavy weight on me, find it hard to find my north back when I was young. So this podcast is a place where I wish could help these youth to come out, to become true, or a lot of people other than the LGBTQIA have secrets to keep. And sometimes these secrets are better left up in the open. I know it's dark and hard, but being very authentic in your truest self is actually quite liberating. So I hope that this podcast could help at least admit to yourself the things that you are and the things that you will be and the things that you wish to be. Anyway, so let's get down to business and talk about 2019 and what went down in 2019. So for me, 2019 was a hellish year, and I hope it wasn't for the most of us. But for me, it was such a turbulent period in my life where I had to rediscover myself, relearn, explore, especially myself, my wants, my needs, my likes, and how I deal with stuff. While I also experienced coming out of my shell, being single after the longest while, and loving myself, being a better friend to my friends, and working on myself, focusing on self-development, my physical health, and a lot of stuff that goes on with growth, development, and whatever. But yeah, the year was focused on hashtag self-love. And one thing I learned is that I was so full of love that I was just putting it in one place. But this year showed me that my love was like everywhere, my love for my job, my love for my friends, my family, my dogs, my kids at work. This made me see that I was actually in a good place, not just in a bad place where my heart was just broken and emotionally I had to go through that. But this year showed me and taught me a lot. And I was just so happy that 2019 ended in such a good note and feeling good about myself because 2019 I celebrated my small victories and triumphs and also wallowed in self-pity, self-doubt, and also the defeats that I experienced. But one thing that I was proud of is that I was totally honest with myself, with my friends, and the people around me about how I was going through stuff or how I was feeling about my breakup, my emotions, everything that was going through my head. I was thinking out loud. I was going out there. And my proudest moments of the year was I went out and wrote a poem about my brokenheartedness and spit it out in an open mic event in Ampalaya Monologues and ended it with a good and happy poem saying that I am happy, genuinely, free from the heartbreak, but still acknowledging whatever it is that I feel. So it was very great because I was very open that 2019. With that being said, I was just happy enough to be able to be vulnerable and more raw about on a lot of stuff, and it got me through the healing process. It got me through a lot, being myself, developing my self-love and avoiding self-pity and self-doubt. I was just happy that I had friends who were there to support me whenever I needed them to be there. And so for the next segment of this podcast, we'll be talking about the goals that we want to set for 2020, how we should have smart goals, and how we could stay on focus and stay on top of these goals and work on it as much as we can, as much as possible, be more aware of the things that goes around us. So goal setting 101 coming up next. So one thing to think about setting goals is we have to know why it's important to set goals for the next year, for the coming years, and for all the things that will follow. So goal setting is important because it will be your point of reference. It will be your North Star throughout the year. It is something that could help you track your progress, track how far you've come, or how big and small your growth is. But nonetheless, there will always be growth and there will always be progress as you go through the year. But this would be your point of reference if you're going the right direction. So, focusing on that, goals are also important because you are able to set yourself up and focus on the things that matter and help you prioritize the things that you have to do when you go through your year. So what I did or how I set up my goals was I went to this coffee shop near our place, a Starbucks, and I sat down there and I discussed to myself what are the things that I have to finish, prioritize things that I have to do when I go back to work this January. So I prepared notes and to-do lists for the things that I have to finish when I go back. And then I set up my own career goals and personal goals on two different papers because, being a career person is also different from the personal things that you go through and the personal goals that you want to achieve for yourself. So have these set of goals that you want to achieve. You can have one for your career, one for your passion project, and one for your personal goal. But if you want to have it all in one aspect or category, it's up to you. But for me, it's better to separate it so you're able to track it the way you want it. You can track your career life, you can track your personal life, and you can track your passion project. So, those are the things that you want to keep track of and look where you're going and how far you're going. So, setting these goals, you have to be smart. You have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. All this time you've been hearing this. You've been hearing this at school, at job orientations, or whatever. But smart objectives and goals are quite helpful when you make one because, you don't want to set yourself up to fail. You want to set yourself up to achieve, to gain. So you will look at yourself, examine how you're faring right now, and check what you want to improve. Make it appropriate for where you are. Because if you try to put goals that are way far beyond you and far beyond your control, you might lose interest and motivation as you go through the year. So you have to be specific. You have to put it down there what you want to be, what kind of teacher you want to be, how fit do you want to be, how awesome do you want to be. Like, for example, you can be like, I want to be awesome. I want to be able to speak up in public very well like a host. Or you could put down in passion project, I want to be able to release a podcast every week or every other week. That may seem easy, but it's harder to actually just put it down on the board and try to do it yourself. So you have to be specific, measurable. You have to know how much you want it, how much you are willing to put out there, and how much do you need to do to get to there. And attainable, again, you have to know if you can attain this within the year, because if you can't, you're just setting yourself up to fail, and that's bad because it will get you demotivated quickly and your morale is going to go down the drain. So another thing is that to stay on track on these goals, I suggest that you practice meditation and self-awareness things. For example, journaling. Journaling is something that you could look at doing because it's very helpful in a sense where you could actually reread, track your past progress, log down the things that you've been doing on that day, and especially remembering how you felt that day. you'd be surprised on how far you've come. So when you look at it, for example, me at the end of this year, I was looking through my notes in my journal, and or actually going through the whole 2019, and I was reviewing my journal, and I saw how far I've come. I saw how much pain I was in the start of the year, and at the end of the year how much grateful or how grateful I was for being alive and being around great people. So tracking your progress in a sense where you write down what you do, write down what you need to do in the past day, not what you need to do in the coming days or weeks, it's very healthy and important. So grab a journal, take notes of what you need to do. Be sure to prioritize them by your standards, by your priorities, because this is yours and this is your journal. And you can put down the things that made you happy that day, your small wins, your small victories, and your defeats if you have one. And especially, you can write down there on your journal what you want to work on, what you need to work on specifically on that day, on that week, or work on yourself that you can work and finish within the next few months. It's really great to see that. It's really great to have your moment to yourself and reflect on how far you've come. Well, and also, you can't do this alone. Doing this alone makes it very difficult because you are accountable for what you do. So I suggest that you find friends that help you stay on track. Friends that are family, your ohana, your OG, because these friends will help you become who you are, who you're meant to be. They will nudge you in the right direction. They will support you in everything that you want to go through, and they will honestly be there for you when you need them. So don't do this alone. Be an accountable buddy, or find an accountable buddy for yourself, because they will remind you of the things that you want to go through and you want to finish. So by doing this, you are reminded of the things that you want to achieve for yourself this 2020 and the coming years. So keeping the flame up for that whole 2020 is going to be a tough uphill battle, but I swear you have to just be aware of yourself, surround yourself with people who actually care about what you do and how you grow, and you know be inspiring. Try to inspire yourself in a lot of ways. Go out there, be someone you want to be, and don't be afraid of it, because the potential is there, and if you want to grow, you can grow the way you want to grow. So the world is our oyster. To cap this off, I'm just glad that I was able to get through this first episode, and I'm happy that you stayed with me through and through. Thank you. But yeah, to recap and rehash all of this, Love, Growth, and Freedom is going to be a podcast about anything and everything under the sun. So anything about love, anything about growth, and anything about freedom. And it would always focus on reflecting and how things can work out for you. And I hope and pray that this podcast could help other people the way it could help me, the way it would help me. So yeah, I'm happy that we're down to our first episode, and to all the people who would listen to this, thank you so much, because you've given me a chance to voice out the things that I hold dear and important. So once again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night ahead of you, and I'll see you again soon. Signing out.